Let's return to This Week in America. Here's your host, Rick Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody, coast to coast. This Week in America. Women Telling Our Story, Bearing Our Soul from Behind the Wall by Mae Dixon is a compilation of stories told by incarcerated women as they begin the process of healing. These women could be any one of us, except they lost their way, mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. The telling of their experiences is helping them to reclaim their life, their self-esteem. Mae is an Amazon best-selling author of The Secret Code of Girls, The Ins and Outs of Being a Female, The Secret Code of Girls, Empowering Girls to Become Confident Women, and several others. Mae has also authored poems, newsletters, blogs, and leadership training manuals. A rewarding real estate career for over 40 years, where she received numerous awards, including Realtor of the Year and Top Gun in Real Estate. She's a certified spiritual healing coach and has written and facilitated numerous empowerment programs for women and youth. Mae is an advocate for survivors of domestic violence and social justice. She's founded, presided over, and served on numerous boards and committees, received awards and recognition for her leadership, the founder of A Will and Way, Inc., a 501c nonprofit organization. Mae Dixon, author of Women Telling Our Story, Bearing Our Soul from Behind the Wall, recently showcased at the Hong Kong Book Fair, is our guest on This Week in America. Mae, welcome to the program. A pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So much to talk about and cover in today's program. Let's start by the inspiration for writing this book, Women Telling Our Story. How did this come about as a book?
Well, I was inspired by the hundreds of women who wanted to give back in exchange for deliverance that they received through our ministry to them while being incarcerated.
It's amazing the stories that you tell and getting the feedback and the response that this book and these stories are helping so many other people. How long did it take you to write this book? From the time you got the concept to the time it was published, how long a process was this for you?
Rick, it was actually a little bit more than 10 years. We received hundreds of submissions, and we had to go through each and every one of them to try to determine which stories that we could publish.
Yes.
It was quite heart-wrenching, so I would pick it up and put it down and pick it up again. So, it took about 10 years.
I would think that would be emotionally draining. Everyone telling their story, you're going through all of these stories. You finish one, you get emotionally set, and then you jump into another story and you go through sort of vicariously what they are going through. That had to be a difficult process. Mae Dixon is our guest on the program. That's M-A-E Dixon, D-I-X-O-N. Important because that's her website, maedixon.com. Book available at Amazon, all of the usual places. Talk about coming up with a title for the book.
Well, our ladies live all over the country, and we wanted to have a way to reach out to them and hopefully them, recognize the book that they were a part of. So we did a program called Woman to Woman in the Jail, and our hope is that the book will reach them as a testimony of their faith and hope entrusted to us. They bared their souls, and we gave them a voice.
It's interesting because often we read stories told by a reporter, sort of their vision, or an author, their vision of what the woman is going through, what her story is. In this case, Women Telling Our Story, you have them actually telling their story. Talk about the process, Mae, of getting the ladies to share their stories. It sounds like there wasn't a problem there when you had hundreds of people submitting. Talk about the process of getting them to submit, going through and sorting out what would be good and a different variety, I assume, of different stories for the book. How did that process work, and how difficult was it to get the trust of the women?
Well, getting the trust to them was actually as a result of my own experiences that I didn't immediately recognize. I was called, if you will, to take care of God's women. That was the term that I received. And and I am a survivor of domestic violence myself in many forms. And so, therefore, when I went into the jail, the ladies were able to identify with me, and I was able to identify with them, which made it much easier than some of the other programs that was in the jail, because the women felt like they were being preached to and, judged and
Yes.
criticized. And because we went in with a heart of love, they were very receptive. They were given the task to write letters to teen girls that we mentored, and then to write their story of how they ended up in jail. We saw their progress. They felt their power being restored and asked if we would share their stories to prevent other women from following in their footsteps, as a way of giving back to the ministry. So we promised to put their stories in a book, and here it is.
Well, yeah, in the book is Women Telling Our Story, Bearing Our Soul from Behind the Wall by Mae Dixon. Book is available wherever books are sold. I suggest you go to Mae's website, which is maedixon.com. A link for all of that on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. After you gather the stories, after you talk to the women, you've got the task now of trying to figure out what stories you are going to put in the book. How difficult was that, and how did you decide what stories to include?
Well, it was very difficult. The stories were hard to read, which is why it took so long to publish. Many tears were shed. We tried not to duplicate stories. As you can imagine,
Yes.
There were many similarities among the hundreds of women. So while all of the stories were impacted by domestic violence, we also wanted to address alcoholism, drug addiction, sexism, adultery, child neglect, theft, human trafficking, prostitution, and unforgiveness. So we chose the stories based on that criteria.
The book available wherever books are sold, Women Telling Our Story, Bearing Our Soul from Behind the Wall by Mae Dixon, our guest on the program. What other stories are in the book besides just stories of the ladies? Are there other stories that you tell there as well?
Yes, there are a variety of prayers, poetry, some inspirational messages, tools for self-empowerment, statistics for the purpose of advocacy, and resources for others impacted by the same or similar issues. So we try to incorporate any and everything that we felt would help whoever reads the book to be able to gain some sorts of support as well as empowerment.
It's very comprehensive, a comprehensive guide that will answer a number of questions, open your eyes as well as you read Women Telling Our Story. Who is the audience for this? Was there a target audience you had in mind as you were writing this?
Yeah, the book is intended really for survivors of domestic violence, women in general, fathers with daughters, because it helps them to understand their daughters and to recognize when there's trouble in their lives. It's geared toward teen girls and church leaders and the general public. Yeah, the book will help to make others aware, to identify the traits of domestic violence.
How do you hope this book will help people? I think you touched on that in opening some eyes, in maybe telling somebody who's a victim that really doesn't realize fully they are a victim. How do you hope the book will help?
Our hope is that the book will bring awareness and healing to those near and far. It is being promoted in and outside of the U.S., and domestic violence encompasses mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial abuse, which includes poverty, homelessness, drug addiction, and human trafficking. And on the surface, we don't always see it as such. And we so therefore have to hope to be able to reach and bring awareness and bring healing throughout the world. The country is in a terrible state because of so much anger and unforgiveness.
Yes.
And our hopes is that this book will be able to bring healing and eliminate some of those issues so that we can live peacefully together.
Do you think the book will bring about maybe a new understanding, maybe a compassion to understand the plight of what these women are going through and what they need to get their self-esteem back and become successful people in society?
Yes, and that has been proven. Yes.
The book is Women Telling Our Story, Bearing Our Soul from Behind the Wall by Mae Dixon, our guest on the program. Her website is maedixon.com. A link on our website will take you directly to Mae's website. You can order the book there as well. All of this on thisweekinamerica.us. I mentioned in the beginning the organization that you founded. Talk a little bit about that and how you're able to help these women.
Okay. I founded A Will and Way in 2002 after hearing a call from God to take care of his ladies. I was physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, and sexually abused from age 5 to 59. I had blocked 20 years of my life. I experienced a devastating event that forced me to come to terms with my past. God literally took me on a journey to show me that I was qualified to do this work. And by using my own experience, I was able to penetrate the walls of these women's hearts to show them that me and my team genuinely cared about them and their healing. A Will and Way, Inc. Has provided emotional support, financial support, housing, vocational training, food, clothing, mentoring, and assistance with the recovery of their children from the state. We also implemented a program for the men who were incarcerated and connected to these women in an effort to mend the family, to reduce domestic violence and recidivism.
All of this information that Mae is talking about, the book and the information on the 501c, the nonprofit that's doing remarkable work, on her website, maedixon.com. You mentioned something there about the problems you went through in confronting your past. How difficult is that? Is that something where you have that shield up and you really don't want to go back to that, but you need to break free?
Yes, and it wasn't a matter of need, it was a force, because when I was called to do the work, my response was, I can't, because I don't know anything about these women or the challenges that they faced. And God took me on a journey, literally, and showed me what I had gone through those years that I had blocked out. And that helped me to be able to relate and gave me the will to, do whatever that I could to change their lives.
I talk about confronting the past. How difficult is it sometimes maybe to confront the future, the present? Confront the present. You know your circumstances, but maybe you are afraid for a number of reasons to not confront the present. Is that an issue?
It is an issue from the standpoint that to do this work, it takes not only your personal abilities, but there's a financial component as well. And a lot of people don't relate or appreciate domestic violence from that perspective. And part of that is because sometimes we're living in it and refuse to recognize it because, it's going to create issues that we don't want to face. And so therefore, gleaning financial support has been a tremendous challenge. And that's what we deal with going into the future. There's so many things that we, hope to do to help these women and children. But we're limited because of, strictly because of financing.
What has this meant for you, this work and writing the book and seeing the response and hearing these stories and giving hope to these women? What's this been like for you?
It's empowering because I feel that I'm doing something to help the situation versus, to bring more challenges. I've seen personally the results of our work with these ladies. I mean, they've gotten jobs. As I forestated, they were able to get their children back from children's services. Just to see the self-esteem escalated as a result of just being able to free themselves has been priceless.
We've talked about these issues for a number of years. You would hope by now in programs like yours and other programs that maybe we would see some type of progress in combating this, in eliminating this, in reducing the numbers. Are you seeing any progress?
Not really, because here again, we're in a society where women are seen as less than. And so therefore, there's no real value given to them, no sense of emergency. There are programs, governmental programs, local programs that attempt to, take care of the situation, but it is so vast. The situation is so vast. There's the number of women who are violated, and now the number of men who are violated. It's just difficult to wrap your head around it, and to be able to get the funding needed to address the situations properly.
You read about women in prison experience physical, sexual trauma at the hands of men. The past 20 years, the war on drugs has caused a significant rise in the number of women who've been incarcerated and their access to adequate drug treatment. Talk about that and that aspect of it. Why have we seen this dramatic increase in the number of incarcerated women?
Here again, it's because, number one, there's the issue of pride and the issue of fear. The pride is that we don't want anyone to know what's going on behind closed doors. We've been threatened that if we talk about it, harm will come to us. The other issue is fear of losing our financial support, fear of losing our children. I mean, I personally was threatened with my husband taking away my children, which, caused me to make some decisions that was not good for me. It's a number of things that causes us to hide, if you will, for lack of a better word. Yeah.
Mae Dixon is our guest. Time is going by so quickly. The book is Women Telling Our Story, Bearing Our Soul from Behind the Wall. Book is available wherever books are sold, of course, at Amazon. Information, and you can order the book at Mae's website, maydixon.com, a link on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. What are your future plans? What do you plan in the future? Are you working on another book?
I am working on another book, and this book is about relationships, and it's inclusive of our spiritually, primarily. Most of my books are based on spirituality, and so with our world being in the condition that it's in, I felt it's important to be able to share all aspects of relationships. Not just love relationships, but relationships with family, with children, even in our spiritual walk. So that's the book that I'm working on, and I most definitely will continue to work with the ladies and our youth. I had a near-death experience in 2021, and I'm still recovering, so that has hampered me from being able to travel as much as I've done in the past. But we are still facilitating self-empowerment workshops with women and teen leadership development programs with our youth who are in tremendous trouble. The suicide rates have escalated beyond measure. There's so much anger and confusion in our youth, and our plans are to reach out and, in addition to mentoring, to be able to save as many as we can. We also offer online coaching, speaking opportunities for churches, organizations, including educational and corporations. Yeah, we're still very busy.
It sounds
Still
like it.
trying to make an impact.
You've got a lot going on, touching people's lives. How are you doing now? You sound fine. Are you bouncing back okay?
I am. Yes, lots of therapy, lots of grace. I am. Yeah, I'm doing much better.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And you can follow Mae and all she's got going at her website, maedixon.com. Touch briefly at the beginning, best-selling Amazon author, The Secret Code of Girls books, two of them, The Ins and Outs of Being a Female and Empowering Girls to Become Confident Women. This sort of hand-in-hand with self-esteem, all of the work that you've done throughout the remarkable career that you've had. Talk briefly about those books, the importance of those books, especially now. You mentioned all the turmoil in the world with social media, with everybody fighting with everybody else, with everybody, the power of a keyboard. Everybody's got an opinion anonymously that they want to share with the world. Talk about that series of books and how important those books are to girls who have grown up and then been motivated by those books, and girls looking for answers now.
Okay. The Secret Code of Girls was my first writing experience, and it was based on my own life and the things that I wish someone had told me as I was growing up. That book covers everything from adolescence up to marriage. It teaches how to take care of your body, how to take care of your mind, as well as how to select a college. I mean, it's very expensive. There are games there is arts and crafts in the book to keep us entertained. And the second book was actually a rewrite of the first one on empowering women, which reached a little further in the economics of life, jobs, and that kind of thing. I also wrote a book called Nurses Wielding Grit and Grace. Now, and that's a little different, but that was a book that I wrote as a result of being of my illness and experiences that I had for over 22 months of recovery. And it helps. It's also spiritually motivated in helping nursing community to be able to advocate for themselves as well as to take care of themselves. So, yeah, we've and another book we did was Restored by Grace. That book has got a lot of attention as well because it talks about how we live, how we love, and the grace of God and how He takes care of us throughout all types of situations.
And all of those books you'll find at Amazon, the usual places, but specifically Mae's website. And you can stay on top of what she's doing, any new books, any new projects at maedixon.com. Just a second or so left here. We talk so often about mental, physical, emotional. We've talked a lot about spiritual on this interview, during this interview, which you are a spiritual coach. Talk about, is that something that we often overlook, the spiritual aspect of our lives?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The church has fallen tremendously because people are seeking their own way versus seeking God's way. And until we can redirect ourselves and realize that our power is within God, then, yeah, we will continue to have these situations.
And I mentioned Mae is a certified spiritual healing coach. So much more that we could talk about. Hopefully we'll have a chance to do this again. This book is Women Telling Our Story, Bearing Our Soul from Behind the Wall by Mae Dixon. I want to thank Reader's Magnet, the self-publishing and marketing company, for arranging our conversation today. Mae, I know you've been working with them in the promotional aspect of the book, getting the book out there to touch even more lives. What's it been like working with Reader's Magnet?
An absolute joy. I've met some wonderful people. I actually went to Chicago for the book tour there, and I met a lot of the staff and just an excellent group of people to work with. They're consistent, they're professional, and they're compassionate.
That's Reader's Magnet, their website, very simple, readersmagnet.com. The program today, the book we discussed is Women Telling Our Story, Bearing Our Soul from Behind the Wall by Mae Dixon, Maedixon. Our website, maedixon.com. And you can link onto our website to get more information. Mae, a pleasure having you on the program. Best of success wishes for all the projects you've got going. A lot that you're doing there, but touching a lot of lives in a very positive way. Thank you for spending some time with us on the program.
Thank you.
Mae Dixon, the author of Women Telling Our Story, and of course information on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. And we're back on today's program right after these messages.
This Week in America is online. You can visit our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Scott Pinkerton, associate producer of This Week in America. Jay Anderson, segment producer. Ben Watson, webmaster. Otto Bechet, director of engineering and TV production. This Week in America produced and is a trademark of Blue Funk Broadcasting, LLC. For information on all of our guests and to listen to this week's show, our website again at thisweekinamerica.us. And I'm Sean Bratton, executive producer of This Week in America.